Hello, everyone, and welcome to Hope. My name is Tammy Lynn Connors. This is my YouTube channel and podcast, Helping Other People Evolve. I am blessed to be here today. I sit with a few things behind me that I received from some great people this past weekend for my 20 years of being sober. What a spectacular achievement, honestly. I don't like to toot my own horn, but I'm pretty proud of myself for that. So, for those of you that do not know what Hope is and why I started it, my mission and vision with Hope was just to help people that felt like they were struggling alone. I feel like in this world, especially in the last few years, I'm sure that it was like this before this, but it seems more now. So many people feel like they're alone in their struggles. And I'm just in hopes that you would hear somebody's story, whether it be my story, whether it be Josh's story, whether it be Allison's story, whoever's story that you hear on here that you can relate to, maybe it'll help you to know that you are not alone in your struggles. And we can get through struggles. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying that you snap your fingers and you're better or anything like that, because it's a journey, it's a journey of hope. And my journey honestly began with this in 20 well, I was going to start the podcast in 2020, but a lot of things happened in 2020 for all of us, so it didn't happen until 21. So I've actually been doing my podcast for a little over 3 years, just like 2 days over 3 years. And I this is my 127th episode, and I've been blessed by the guests that I have, the stories that I've heard, people sharing from their heart, people that have never shared their stories before, that I get a message from that says, "Hey, you helped me." I've had 3 people start their own podcast from this, and so a little bit of journey of mine. And I'm gonna do a couple different things on this episode because first and foremost, I want to say thank you, God. That is my belief, God. I always tell everybody, whatever it is you believe, but mine is God, and I can never ever say how grateful and thankful I am that he saved me. You hear that song, I get emotional sometimes. Hear that song, Amazing Grace, and I just think of his amazing grace for me because I was lost. Um, I always say, saved a wretch like me. If you knew me back then, 25 years ago, 24 years ago, 23 years ago, 22 years ago, I was a mess. I drank every day for 7 years straight from 1997 to 2004. I call that my drinking career. I drank before that too, but that's when alcohol took me over physically and mentally. I drank every day. I worked at a golf course, so I could be there from 6 in the morning till 2 in the morning. And basically I just kept drinking and drinking and drinking. I was very functioning. I was very sick though. Towards the end of my drinking, I won't go into all the details of my drinking, but towards the end of it, I weighed about 85 pounds. My cheeks were very sunk in. My eyes were very yellow. My liver was not good. My liver enzymes were very high. I had had pancreatitis 3 times. I was to the point, I don't think there was any return for me if I wouldn't have stopped. I believe in my heart and soul that I had a very short time to live. And by the grace of God, I was fired from my job. On a Saturday night at work, after work, went downstairs in the basement of our job. Our place was a sports bar, and I had upstairs and downstairs. I went down there and drank with my friends. Now I'd been drinking all day anyways. And I got very, very, very inebriated. And I can remember sitting in my boss's office with 2 of my friends and my one friend saying, "We need to call an ambulance immediately or she's going to die." And I was taken to the hospital, um, given IVs, hydrated, potassium, all of those things. And I was sent home with a note, a piece of paper that just said this: refrain from drinking alcohol. Your blood alcohol level is 0.399. Please refrain from drinking alcohol. Not, let's get you into a sober place, let's get you into a rehab, let's get you into a detox facility, nothing like that. And when I say by the grace of God, I'm glad that they didn't. I'm glad they didn't cart me upstairs to like their psych ward or their detox ward or anything like that, because I went to a friend's house at 5 in the morning knocked on their door, they let me in, and I knew that they had alcohol there. So I had to waitress the next day at 4 o'clock. And sometimes I managed and sometimes I waitress, Sundays I waitress. And God had a plan, and his plan was for me to go into work, very, very intoxicated. I'm pretty sure my blood alcohol was probably still 0.399 because they didn't put my stomach or anything. And I continued to drink the whole next day till I went to work. And I ended up getting sent home that night. And the next day I woke up and I called my boss and was begging for my job. I was a single mom. I had a son in the other room who was 14 years old, going to be 15, and I didn't know what I was going to do. And my bosses, there was three of them, all three agreed that, sorry, Timmy, we can't give you your job back. You've got to get some help. You've got to do something. Um, I learned about AA years ago from my boy's dad because I went to many meetings with him. I went to many Al-Anon meetings. So my dad was an alcoholic. My dad died at 34 years old. He drowned in our bathtub. My mom found him in the morning. I called the neighbors, went downstairs, saw my dad's dead body in the bathtub. And when I was knowing that I was fired from my job, I was very sick, like I said. I mean, when I say sick, it was this every day, shaking. You can't, if you're watching the podcast, you can't see it, but shaking. I vomited every single day, just complete yellow bile. I think of that and I get like PTSD if I start vomiting because I remember how sick I truly was. And that day that I got fired, I sat in my living room. I looked out the window and I just thought, man, my son's dad's incarcerated for another, I don't even know at that point how many years, another 10 years. Let's just say he was locked up for 15 to 30 years. And I was going to die. And if I didn't do something right now, my son was going to end up finding me like I found my dad. And I couldn't do that to my son. My son had already lost a little brother. He'd already lost his grandpa that he was close to. And then lose me too? No, I just couldn't do it. And I laid on my floor, I screamed, I cried. I just told God I needed his help. And I asked him, please, for his help. So it's like you tell him something, but you have to ask too, right? Ask and you shall receive. Wasn't easy. I'd be lying if I said it was easy. I went through a major detox, but I went all on my own. I didn't go to a hospital. I didn't go to a rehab center. I didn't go lay in a cot or a bed for 3 days to detox with medical care, which so many people I talk to, doctors, nurses, they just always are amazed because they're like, with your blood alcohol like that, you were so lucky that you didn't have seizures, that you didn't have a heart attack, that you didn't just die, right? And I, to this day, 20 years later, so blessed to know that God had a purpose for me. And it's a big purpose, and I know that. And I always tell people this. No matter what we're going through, every day that we wake up and we have a pulse, then we have a purpose. I'm just learning my purpose, and that's what I like to tell people. People are like, oh, well, look at you, 20 years sober. Wow, right? And they think that it was just, here I am. Now I'm very hopeful. I love spreading hope. I love being a light in the world. I love to bring joy to people. I like to remind people to be grateful for what we have and the days that we have because we don't know how many days we have. But this has been an ongoing process for 20 years. Honestly, I didn't really start finding who Tammy Lynn Connors was until pardon me a minute, until the end of 2020. I say this to you all. not in any way to ever feel sorry for me, because I never want anybody to feel sorry for me, because everything I ever went through in my life has made me who I am today. Um, Not always strong, you know? I just had a friend make a post about always being strong, always being strong. I'm not always strong. I have to really work at things daily. But in 2020, we all had a year, right? I always talk about in my sobriety, there's never been a bubble around me that God said, "Hey, I'm gonna protect Tammy from everything and anything that could happen," right? Because she might just fall back on start drinking again. And at this point in my life, if I went back to drinking again, I 100% made a choice to go back drinking again. Now, back there in the day when I was physically and mentally addicted, sure, I made a choice in the morning to take that first drink. But after that, I pretty much had no control because I had to have it physically and mentally. So I've gone past that stage. And I always want to talk about, people, once you get past that, we have to work on ourselves. We have to work on our mindset. We have to work on who we are, because otherwise, you're just living a lie. You haven't helped yourself. In 2012, I use this as an example of when I could have said, I'm going to start drinking again. If I flash back 12 years before I started quit drinking, we lost our 6-month-old son to SIDS. Um, any parent that knows about losing a child, it's the worst thing that could ever happen to you. When I fast forward to 2012, and I'd been sober 8 years, almost 8 years, because it was in February of 2012. And my bonus son, Nicholas, who had been my bonus son since he was 18 months old, my son's half brother, he has a half brother and a half sister, Heather's older. Um, he was killed in a single car drinking and driving accident. I would have to say that if there's any time that a person would say, that's it, I'm gonna start drinking again, because I need to numb this pain. Numbing the pain wouldn't have done me any good. Numbing the pain wouldn't have done anybody any good. So I made that decision. Again, there was no reason for me to drink again. And it's kind of crazy because the night after he passed away, and I just really started talking about this recently because now I know why. I believe in dreams. I believe dreams can tell you things. I believe that you need to be aware of what's going on. And in your dreams, sometimes your subconscious mind. I had a dream the next day that Nick and I were at a bar in Detroit, and he was drinking, and he handed me a big, big glass. It was either a margarita or I don't know, maybe a martini. I don't even know what it was, but it was big. And he said, "Here, Tammy, go ahead and have a drink." And I was like, "No, I'm not going to drink that. I don't drink anymore." He's like, "Go ahead. Everybody will understand." I didn't realize till recently that that was a spiritual warfare saying, "Go ahead, it's okay. You can have this drink. Everybody will understand why you started drinking again." Thank God I was strong in my sobriety and remembered exactly what I felt like on the day that I quit, that vomiting that I did, the bile that I was vomiting. It was disgusting. The way that I looked. I just had a friend say to me recently, like, she said, "I saw you at the gas station right before you quit drinking." And I came home and told my husband, "She didn't look good. She didn't look like she's gonna live much longer." And I believe that was the truth. Um, so when I said that I didn't really start finding out who Tammy Lynn Connors was until 2020, that was a year for all of us, like I said, on Valentine's Day of March of Feb oh, Valentine's Day of March or February or whenever it is, February 14th. I know the date. My best friend the night before, he had taken a Percocet and it had fentanyl in it. And after midnight, he unfortunately passed away from it. He'd been clean and sober for quite a while. Just took it, I think, because he just, I don't know. I don't know if he had a backache. I don't know what was going on. I messaged him earlier that day, see if he wanted to go work out. He said he wasn't feeling great. He was tired. And unfortunately, we lost him the next day. COVID comes, and March 9th, which is my sobriety date, had a dinner with friends like I did again this year. This was a smaller group. My mom went with us. It's kind of funny. Well, not funny, but kind of. My mom was always, she had COPD, so she'd get pneumonia. And always on her birthday, March 10th, she'd usually either end up in the hospital or the nursing home because she would be sick, whether it was urinary tract infection, whether it was COPD, whether it was pneumonia. And so my son and I, when we went out to dinner that night with a few friends, we were like, great, here we go, taking grandma out right when COVID's starting, right? She didn't get COVID. She didn't get sick. She was great all summer long. In April of 2020, one of my really good friends in Arizona was murdered by her ex-husband to be. He shot and killed her. The hardest part for me was I couldn't be in Arizona with my friends. It was hard. I was able to go out there in May and be with them for a little bit. We had our celebration of life in July. Come home middle of July, my mom ends up in the hospital with pneumonia, and she ended up being in and out hospital, nursing home, hospital. While she was in the hospital, she ended up getting COVID. And I'm telling you all of this for a reason. You'll hear why in a minute. And she came home from the hospital on a Thursday with COVID, and she unfortunately died on that Monday. She had lived with me. We had lived together for 7 years, from 2013, 7.5 years to 2020. I helped take care of her, my nieces, my nephews. Just a lot went on, and I was always busy taking care of people. So when I say that I finally found me, that was when it finally started happening, because I didn't have anybody to take care of anymore but me. My mom was gone. My sister at that time was alcoholic addict, not very functioning, but she was definitely practicing it. By the grace of God, she's been sober over 6 months now. And but I had to let go of a lot of things, and I had to learn to detach from a lot of things. And I had to learn who I was. And anybody out there that's struggling with anything like that, you really have to learn who you are and really have to be who you are. God made us all. He made us all exactly how he wanted us to be. But sometimes we take a different path than what he had planned for us. And that's just the nature of the flesh, right? That's just what we do. We all have a purpose here, Paul's purpose, right? So I I've been finding myself for the last 4 years. I've really been 3.5 years, I guess it would be. I've really been working on me. I've been, many of you might see my reels, might see my TikToks, might see things like that. I like to share hope. I like to show people that I love to dance. I love showing people that you can still have fun when you're sober. Love showing people that life is a gift and we're blessed to have it. And but I never sugarcoat it. I never make it seem like everything is amazing and wonderful in life, because everything for me is great, but we all have our moments and we all have our days. And this is going to lead me to this part of the podcast. Maybe I should have done 2 podcasts, but I'm going to do it in one because I skipped last week. So, we always say we got to be strong, right? Strong women, strong men. And this is going out to both men and women, because I feel like men especially, you got to be strong, don't show your feelings, right? But women are like that too. Like, we got to be strong, we got to stay strong for the family, we got to stay strong for our men, we got to stay strong, and we carry a lot on our shoulders, and men carry a lot on our shoulders. And I hope that in this day and age that we learn that it's okay, we don't have to be strong all the time. Whether you're a man or a woman, you don't have to be strong all the time. It's okay for you to lay in your bed and cry. If you want to stay there for a whole day, stay there for a whole day. The only thing that can't happen is to stay there for a long time. If we're dealing with mental health issues that we have going on, we need to find someone to talk to, someone that's going to help us, not just someone that's going to be like, oh, oh, yeah, okay, and then walk away like nothing is has helped. We need people in our life that are going to help support us, that are going to listen to us, not always give us a solution, but sometimes just listen to us. I was talking with a friend today, and he had said, sometimes we just want to be heard. Sometimes we don't need somebody to solve our problems. Sometimes we just need to be heard. And sometimes we just need to share what we're feeling just to get it off our chest to somebody. I mean, we could lay in our bed or sit on our couch and talk to ourselves all day long, but that's not helping. Sometimes we just need someone to talk to. So, Saturday, this weekend was a great weekend for me. Friday night, I went out. I got this huge Phoenix tattoo on my back. If you guys want to see it, go to my social media. You can see it. And going out dancing this weekend with my dress, my backless dress, showing off my Phoenix. And Saturday, I worked, and then I went out to dinner with a bunch of friends, and I had a different shirt with my back, and I had like 25 friends show up. I had too many friends show up. I had two of them left and was like, it's okay, we'll go to dinner another time. And I thank Cheryl for that because she's just a good person. And I overbooked the people. The room wasn't big enough. We were like sardines in this room, but what a blessing. And that's where all of this came from. I'm just blessed. I got, oh geez, flowers and flowers and flowers and necklaces. I got this beautiful necklace from a friend of mine that I interviewed on my podcast too. He started his own podcast, and he was like, you deserve this. And he sent this to me. And it's just, I got this one from another friend of mine at the diner. So, I got these beautiful necklaces and jewelry, and I got this cool Phoenix ring, and I got a Phoenix on my back. So just 100% blessed, right? And it was such a great weekend, Friday and Saturday, and I felt so good. And Sunday came along, and I had to work Sunday, and it was my mom's birthday. Um, when you go through life and you lose people, grief is a one hell of a thing, excuse my language, but man, it can just sneak up on you and you just don't even know it just happened, right? Um, I do pretty good usually with the people that I've lost because I know that one day I'll see them again. I know that death is inevitable and we're all here, but we're all going to die someday, which is sad, but it's so true. And that's why I try to live every day with on purpose, with a purpose, because I'm not promised tomorrow and nobody else is promised tomorrow. Um, that's why when I think of someone, I shoot them a message or pick up my phone and call them because you just don't know what kind of day they're having, or it might be the last time you talk to them. So yesterday I was having all these emotions, and actually today too, and I was like, what is going on? I posted my mom's beautiful pictures of one when she was younger and one, right before she passed away, and just shouted out a happy heavenly birthday and was going through my day, and I just didn't understand why everything was so emotional for me. Things that usually don't affect me that much were really affecting me, and it's grief, man. It's grief. I it's sly. Grief is sly, man. Um, some years, even with Cody, my baby that I lost, geez, I lost him in 1992, 32 years ago, and sometimes I cannot even function because I miss him so much. And other days I'm okay. So I said this to a mom the other day that I believe God, he has a way of definitely putting me in places where I need to be to help other people. Whole podcast, right? Help other people evolve. And I ran into a mom that had just lost her son in a horrible car accident that was caused by another person on purpose, basically. I don't know if that other person planned on killing them, but I'm pretty sure that that other person did. And I happened to run into her at the gym. I don't even watch the news. I had seen the accident on the news the week before when I was babysitting. The news is on usually when I get there in the morning. And as soon as I saw the accident, I started praying. And lo and behold, last Wednesday, I'm at my gym. I get off the treadmill or the stair stepper, and this lady's sitting there, and her son's training with my trainer. And she said, "Oh, do you train? Are you a trainer here?" I said, "Oh no, I train. DeAndre's my coach." And she's like, "Oh yeah, he spoke at our church, and we really liked him a lot. So I thought this would be a good place for my son." I'm like, "Yeah, it really is a great place. He's a great trainer. He's very, very patient. He really knows what's going on, and he's a great mentor, especially for younger kids." She's like, "Yeah, I felt that." She's like, "I walked in here and I saw the red, black, and white, and those are my son's colors. And unfortunately, he was killed in an accident last week, and his funeral will be Monday, which is today." And she was like, "I knew I was in the right place when I walked in here." And I was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry about your loss." And she said, "Yeah, he was in, I don't know if you saw the accident or not on TV." She's like, "But," and she explained to me what the accident was. And I was like, "Ma'am, I prayed for you that day I saw that. I prayed for you and your family." And, I sat and talked to her for about 20 minutes, and we talked about grief, and we talked about the things that people say, and we talked about this, and I wanna say this because I think it's so important for everybody. When we lose someone, when we're going to that funeral, and everybody's there, and all the people are there, and everybody's gonna be there for you, and 2 days go by, 3 days go by after the funeral, phone's still ringing, 5 days go by, maybe you get 5 phone calls. 10 days go by, everybody's out living their life again, and there you are, alone, more alone than you were. I just wanna say this to everybody. If you have a friend, a relative, or anyone that's lost someone close to them, be sure to check in on them, because some days are really hard. Some days you feel like you're all alone, and, just maybe just send them a text, just thinking about you, just checking in to see how you're doing. Maybe even say, "Hey, you wanna go have a cup of coffee or whatever it is that you drink? Let's go have a glass of water." Just check in on them, because a lot of times people need that, especially right after the loss. You're gonna have the holidays that they didn't, um that they're not there anymore, and that empty chair. There's a lot that goes on. There's a lot of grief. And anybody that's going through that, man, I hope that you'll get some grief counseling or whatever it is that you have to do to get through that grief, because it's a process. Get yourself into groups. I know my friend Chastity, who shared on here a little while ago, she belongs to a widow group. There's grieving mothers groups. There's all kinds of groups out there. You just have to find them, and they'll take you in and they will love on you. And I always say this, and especially the loss of a child, I never say to anybody, "I know how you feel," but I do say that I can relate to how you're feeling, because I don't know somebody else's feelings, but I do know that I can relate, and I do know that I can talk to them. So, I just want everybody to know, like, life is great. Life is grand. I'm blessed. I'm blessed to be sober for 20 years. I'm blessed to be here. You guys, I am 58 and I feel so good right now. I know I have so much time left on this earth just to share hope and be a light in this world. I'm so blessed to just be able to be that person, to be able, people call me a beacon of hope, and I embrace it. Thank you for that. But I always want to make sure that I'm there for people. I always want to make sure that you know that you don't have to be strong all the time. It's okay. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to grieve. It's okay. It's a process. As long as, if you're staying on your couch for 2, 3, 4 days, then we need to do something to get you off of it and get you going, whether it's working out or doing something that you like to do. Maybe you like to paint, maybe you like to sing, maybe you like to dance. Just finding those things. We can't just stay there, but we also don't have to hide our grief and our pain. We don't have to hide it. And just be aware of the people that have lost the loved one. Just be aware of their feelings. Just be aware of, what's going on with them and how they're feeling. I can never ever say how grateful I am that God gave me this word hope, helping other people evolve, and said, "No, you're not only going to do a podcast, Tammy, or a blog is what I originally did," but he said, "You're going to do a podcast. And I want this podcast to not just be about addiction. I want this podcast to be stories of hope, stories of people, stories of real people that have went through real struggles and have gotten to a strength. And that's exactly what's happened here. I've met the greatest people with the greatest stories that are so um, ready to share them. They've kept them inside for so long, and now they're able to share them, and now they're changing their life, and they're changing their friends' lives, and they're changing other people's lives and their families' lives. And that's what I'm so blessed to be able to do. So I don't know what my episode's gonna be next week. I know my trainer, I've got to get him on here. We've been talking about it for almost a year now, so we're working on it. Our schedules just don't coincide right, but, everybody out here, just willing to share their stories. I'm blessed by that. I hope today's story, inspired you, maybe made you think a little bit, made you realize that it's okay to grieve. It's okay to not be strong every single day of your life. It's okay. I'm not saying be a weakling. I'm not saying be weak. I'm just saying you don't have to put that face on every day. You have to you have to be strong for you. Um, but it's okay. It's okay to not be. It's okay to let yourself feel things. It's okay to grieve. It's okay to just be. It's okay to just be. You got to be still sometimes. You don't always have to be there for everyone. Learn to detach, learn your boundaries, learn, what triggers you or what makes you not feel comfortable in situations, I guess. What makes you make you feel like you have to be strong all the time, and have conversations with your family and your loved ones. Communication is key in everything that we do. I could sit here and I could babble and babble and babble all night long just because I'm just so blessed to share with you all. I hope, my favorite word, I hope that you have a blessed day, whatever day it is that you're listening to this. I hope that you share this with someone. I know that I don't say this often on my podcast, and I need to say it more on my YouTube channel. If you could just please like, share, comment, give some ratings. It just helps get the stories out to other people. I don't monetize this at all. I just use it as a platform for people to share their stories and to get people to love life and live life and know that they're not alone in their struggles. So if you could like, share, comment, stars, ratings, whatever it is that you do, I would really, really appreciate it. My name is Tammy Lynn Connors. Once again, thank you for listening to my story of hope. And I hope that you all have an amazing, amazing day.